Here's part 6 of Woom. So Shyla takes a moment and talks about her own experiences after Angel asked her, do you trust me? Do you think I'm weird? Am I too much? How do you know I'm a safe person? She begins to detail her experience as an escort. She starts off by saying, from my experience, typically a lot of people don't go for larger girls like myself. And when they do, we're all very vigilant. All of us escorts talk to each other and inform each other. If someone is not safe, we share information. But when I arrive first, I always judge a person by their character. Now, of course, working in this industry, you have to become very familiar with a serial killer demographic, which is typically a middle-aged white male who is very overly charismatic, and seems very comfortable in himself. That's kind of a red flag in me. We don't really have a great experience with people like that. Now, for you, the motel was a decent choice. This is very familiar for all of us working girls, but, it's creepy location, but now, after being in here for a bit, I'm pretty comfortable. You started off with shaking my hand, and as you know, the last time someone shook my hand, he tried to strangle me to death. So I was a little afraid at first, but so far I feel safe. Now, if I'm being honest, you seem pretty safe. As I mentioned before, the demographics of typical serial killers, you are mixed race, yes? Part African American and white, I'm assuming. Yeah, that is me. You do have a large scar on your face, and I can tell by the way you speak you're hiding a former speech impediment. You can't pronounce your R's right, can you? Yeah, I've had to work a lot to fix that. I'm getting better. Yeah, so typically the people that I visit, or people that ask for my services, they're all very socially awkward, or, they all are very ashamed about something, part of their bodies. There's a reason why they're asking for an escort. Typically, the people that require my services want to be mommied, to say it lightly, to regress in their age and act like a baby. Burping, a lot of diapers, a lot of cuddling, a lot of sitting on them. I have a special place in my heart for all the socially awkward kind of quote unquote the weird people of society. They're normally the sweetest and they keep to themselves, and they're very, I'd say, comfortable in their kinks and fetishes. So I oblige to them. Honestly, one of the strangest interactions, besides this one, of course, one of the strangest interactions was this really shy guy who couldn't look me in the eyes. He seemed a bit overweight, face covered in pimples. He seemed very discouraged by society. But I knew him quite well. This wasn't the first time I met him. It was actually in a motel similar to this. And his specific kink was being sat on his face. And he built a little box where he could put his head in and be absorbed by me, pretty much. It was kind of like it kind of looked like a mini stockade. The people in the Western times would put their heads and hands through and be presented to society. Kind of like that. But it was just like a lock for his head to kind of like keep it stable so I could put my weight down on him and stuff. And I knew this guy liked to be bossed around a little bit, so I knew how to deal with it. Anyway, this kind of goes into one of the strangest interactions that kind of startled me the most. Well, we have developed a communication style where if he needs to breathe, he'll tap on my thigh. Well, I've sat for quite some time, and I didn't feel a tap. And eventually, I got up when I finished, and his face was purple. And this was the first time I had to do CPR on a client before. He suffocated. I was able to bring him back after a little bit. I had to let him breathe and give him space, but that was the first time he smiled, looked me in the eyes, and cried, and he couldn't stop saying thank you. Like, that was the best experience he's ever had in his life, and I honestly quite enjoyed that. I'm quite proud of him because he seemed to find his voice that day. He was a kind of man that didn't know what he wanted. I mean, he had a vague idea, sexually, of course, of what he wanted, but this seemed to enlighten him in a way. Angel was very intrigued by this story. He's just like, wow, so he almost was reborn. in a way, kind of like a lost soul, and after a near-death experience really brought him back with an appreciation, and he found his voice that way. That's really awesome. Yeah, you know what? That's really good for him, but imagine being so dedicated to a fetish that you kill yourself for it. I got respect in that. Well, with that being said, are you ready for the next story? Sure. Keep in mind during this whole thing, Angel is still working a fist-shaped object into Shyla. So this is all going on as they're conversing, which is really bizarre, but trust me, there is a reason for this detail as we continue on.